Okay, 6:30.
Let me get to that spell real quick, Jesse. And bear with me, folks. I am actually driving. I got stuck at a bad traffic accident. So we'll just. All right, who is Marcy present? And
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, call the meeting to order of the Prairie View Water and District on December 5th at 6:30. Call to order. Jesse, are you here?
Yes.
Marcy, are you here?
Yes.
Lynn, are you here?
Yes, I am.
And I am here, so we do have a quorum. All right, let's start off with the treasurer's report.
Hello, everybody. All right, so we're going to fly by the seat of our pants. Basically, for the month of November, looks like we had a net profit of about $1,600. I have not compared that to other months, so, you know, just getting in on this. I do believe starting and going into the new year, our expenses will go up. Right now, the only expenses I show for the month of December up and coming or that have been paid is our electric bill, which was at $622.50. Year to date, we are showing a profit of $1,747. I do have a question for Jesse, though. On our electric bill, I think we were talking last month that we were on kind of a special billing, and they ended that. Did that continue this month with the rate? Because I noticed our rate is almost the same every single month, and we're back at that. Did it go back into that specialized billing?
I think they probably still haven't taken us off of budget billing yet.
Okay. Yeah, because that's what I noticed on that. So I did go ahead and pay that, but we can get in touch with them, either you or I, because I assume we do not want to be on that anymore. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah, I think we should. We talked about it a couple meetings ago that pay as you go is probably better overall, because otherwise we don't know exactly how much we're going to spend until, you know, we get slapped with the true up.
Okay.
So I think it's better just to do it month by month.
Okay, sounds good. I'll take care of that and see if I can get in touch with them and see if they can get us off of it. Okay.
Cool. Thank you. I've tried a couple times. Maybe they'll get it this time.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And then I know one of the items that we were going to talk about under the treasurer's report were some of our overdue water bill balances. As we're sitting right now, we're almost $1,200 in past due invoices, or bills that have gone out to the residents or the pledges or customers, however we want to call them here in the district. And these are going to be bills that are more than 30 days. So this isn't something like, oh, hey, you know, you're 2 weeks late. No, these are going to be the bills that are over 30 days. Hopefully by the end of this meeting, we can kind of come up with a tentative plan on how we want to move forward with that. But anybody, if you are a resident here, please, we're all in on this together. So this isn't just something that one person can pay for and can cover it all. So I do ask that if you do have any of those past due invoices, please get those taken care of as soon as you can. And I know we have some budget stuff that will be coming up here. Hopefully we can have it finished by the end of this month and presented at the next meeting at the beginning of the year. So any questions for me?
I'd like to mention real quick, as far as the draft budget, just wanted to, and I know some folks are on phones and it may be kind of hard to see, basically what we need to do by the end of December as far as coming up with a draft budget is, and what we're looking at here is the one that we came up with for fiscal year 2022. So now we're going to have to look at our spending, you know, our actual revenue and expenses, kind of compare it to the budget that we forecast for 22 and see how far off we were, and try to make more accurate forecasts and adjustments based on what we learned this year. Because when we started off, we didn't really have a legitimate budget. If you look here, this budget was created by the developer, previous board members, Prairie View Ranch Water District, their 2021 budget was $54,440. When we took over, they only handed over about 37,000 of that. So we already started off with, only 55 or 60% of our operating budget that they came up with for this district. So they knew that it was going to cost at least this much to run the district. And, we definitely aren't coming anywhere close to that at this point. Yeah, so that's not good. We were dealt a very short hand. They knew that we didn't have enough money to operate in 2022. So I'm actually pretty impressed that we were able to cut costs as much as we did and get the spending down to, it was roughly 33,000. So better than 54,000, but we still, our net revenue for the entire, January to December so far is barely breaking even at 1747-ish.
Yes.
And that's because we had volunteers doing the water system, the sampling, all of that stuff. And
So
now
that kind of leads, sorry.
Now we're going to have to, that leads into the next one, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Sorry, any other financial or budget treasurer questions, or shall we move on?
Well, the only thing I was going to say was, I know for anybody who's seen their bills, they noticed that they did not have a meter reading on there. I know we're going to discuss that more later, but I would say plan on this month and next month, we're probably going to be at the base rate straight across until we can get another baseline going and get going on our meter readings again. So for anybody who's wondering what's up with that, I know we'll discuss it more, but I say we have at least 2 months, December, this last billing, and then the next billing will be at the base rate of the $70.
For December.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I believe that's it from me.
Sheila has a hand up. Let's see what she has to say real quick.
I just have a question on the balance sheet, Lynn and Jesse, because I know, Lynn, you're just newly on board.
Yeah, I'm playing with it.
Yeah. So every month, 3% of the top line is supposed to go into reserves.
Yes.
And that has not been done since July or August. I'm sorry.
Yes, I have noticed that, and I'm going to be working on that, and as soon as I can.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, let's talk about the meter reading and the water sampling. I did get an email from Linda at AWWS. They are increasing their ORC rate from whatever it is now to $650 a month.
Oh, yeah. Currently, it was $450 for us.
Yep, they're going to $650 a month. If we want, let me get back to that email. I'm driving and trying to do 4 things at once. If we want Jim to read the water for us, monthly visits. I'm trying to read this. Let me find a pullover spot because it's too crazy. But I believe they're wanting to charge us $525 a month to read the water chlorine levels on a regular basis. So we need to decide.
What was that again? 525?
525. So we need to decide if we're going to pay Jim to read the water chlorine levels, or if we want to work it out amongst ourselves, or plan C is find somebody to do this. I don't have a problem if we're going to have to pay Jim $525 a month. I don't have a problem paying somebody the same amount. So So nobody's doing it as a volunteer status.
Yeah,
Either
and
way,
I think,
somebody's got to do it.
yep. And as far as meter reading, especially meter reading, you know, anything that we're going to pay somebody to do, it really needs to be on a 1099 basis, and that person needs to have liability insurance and everything that's appropriate for the job that they're doing. Because if they slip and fall in the mud or get bit by a dog or by a snake or anything like that, break their ankle,
Right.
they would
Jesse.
be completely on their own.
Jesse, you need to be sure you're within the labor laws. If you're telling
Right.
somebody what to do, when to do it, where to do it, how to do it, and providing the supplies, they are W-2.
Right, but that can all be negotiated in a 1099 contract.
No, that may
Yeah,
not be negotiated.
No, it cannot, Jackie.
so we can't contract someone to do something on a specific date? That doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
If you are
Nope,
giving
if
them
you-
the equipment and you are telling them what to do, then they are considered an employee of yours.
Correct. So either way,
And then you incur the extra costs of unemployment
Right.
and different types of
Workers'
insurance.
compensation.
Yeah,
Right.
Yep.
so really our
So-
only option is to outsource this to AWWS.
And require a certificate of insurance from them.
Right, a liability policy.
correct. So if I'm hearing everybody right, we should have the certified water operator doing. Now, they did not say anything about reading meters. That is not included in this proposal.
So
Oh,
we're already talking about tripling our base cost to them. It's at $450 now.
Yeah,
The
they-
base cost will be $650 plus the $525. So we're going to be tripled.
It's going to be triple.
Right, and we're gonna have
and
to raise water rates.
that doesn't include meter reading. So just the 650 plus
That's all
weekly
it says
chlorine
here.
sampling.
I'm trying to find a pullover spot, but it says, bear with me till I get to a pullover spot. Weekly visits, operator to check chlorine, residuals, log. Yeah, I've got to pull over. I'm coming
Yeah,
up to
why
the
don't
county
you forward
meeting.
that email, Sam?
I can't forward anything right now. I'm driving. So bear with me. I'm coming up to the school. I'll just pull over at the school. We're here on 52. But it may. Would we call meter reading general maintenance? Or could we?
No,
All right.
General maintenance, I would think, would follow under maintaining and keeping up with the day-to-day operational stuff. That wouldn't be under meter reading.
Right. Okay. I'm
Yeah.
pulling up to the school, and I will be able to read this email.
And let me ask this, is the 650 where we're going from basically 450, 485 up to 650, that's their base rate just for saying that we are a part, that they're overseeing us, correct?
yeah,
Correct.
that's
Okay.
the licensing fee, or sorry, the certification, you know, to have somebody certified assigned to us.
Okay.
And sometimes
Oh,
there
no,
are,
guys, there's another crash right here. Jesus.
great.
Oh, my
Sometimes
God.
there are going to be much more expensive months than this. You know, we've just in water sampling, we've spent about $10,000 this year.
Okay, so bear with
And-
me because there's like a bunch. So it says weekly visits by operator to check chlorine residual, log weekly as required by CDBH, check functionality of meters, pumps, tubing, and do general maintenance as needed. Grab monthly supplies and deliver to state certified lab. Follow up on sampling. Submitted to CDPHE, liaison with CDPHE. Lab fees are billed separately on a separate invoice. Other services
Yeah.
are billed according to attached rate sheet of $60 per hour.
So if $60 per hour, just generally, it only takes, Marcy and I had it down to 25, 30 minutes to read all of the meters and get the data put in. So if it takes Jim twice as long, that should only be another $60 from what I'm hearing here. So I think we need to get kind of a custom price quote for what we actually need. So if you can forward that email when it's safe, yeah,
I'm
let's try to
also
put
going to
together
read.
what we're looking for.
I'm also going to read what the email says. If I can do this, come on. It won't let me do this.
Now, on these chlorine samples, Jim doesn't need to take a lab. He doesn't need to take that to the lab. He just comes out, tests the chlorine, tests the pH, and writes it down, just like I was doing and Jesse and I were doing the last year and a half. So that shouldn't require any monthly sampling fees, right?
It's mostly going to be the trip charge and the labor, an hour to get here, an hour to get back, plus $25 for gas, plus, I'd like to see it broken down a little more than that,
for
but
him to come out here when he comes
I
out?
don't know.
Yeah.
We really need to look at the full price sheet and try to work it out. But I think, once we get their price list and everything for 2023, we should put together, request for a custom service contract.
Well, I
Okay.
think you need that price list before you can do an actual budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we did spend roughly in 22 on ORC services, including lab fees and everything, was $16,848. And to date, including Chrissy, prior to AWWS taking over, we're up in the 23,000 range.
Okay, here we go, guys. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, good evening. We have not been charging much for our ORC, but in light of everything that seems to be going on and the quality of water due to the manganese and the lack of fire pump, it puts my ORC at risk. Therefore, I've increased our monthly ORC to our normal rate of $650. Then you can pick either the weekly visits for $525 additionally, or the monthly visits for $382, which he's not going to do very much. Also, we can bring 10% chlorine from now on, which lasts longer in the system and may stabilize things a little better. The cost for a 5-gallon tote is $45.86. Lastly, I don't know if you're aware of all the legal stuff going on. Jim conveyed to me that you seem to be in the anyway. The issue of the manganese letter should be addressed by, yeah, we got it. But they go on to talk about you should have a fire pump already installed by the previous board as well. Apparently, at one point there was one, but no one seems to know where it got to. Let me know your thoughts on the board meeting. I'll forward Jade's email to you. So we need to figure out, is it going to be only this, or is it going to be Jim going to be doing a lot more and charging us a lot more?
Do can you tell from the email, is the 525, is that per week or additional per month?
I don't know by the email. I'll forward this to you as soon as I can, guys. But at this point, I don't know.
Yeah,
it sounds like one of them is $525 a week, and the other one's $382 a month. So I may have misread it. I don't know. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
because 525 a week is actually really costly.
It's over $2,000 a month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so since we can't find. Go ahead, Jesse.
Even the developer was only paying $300 a month to have all of the billing and everything done, including the meter reading and sending out invoices and all that.
Right. So regarding this matter, I think we should table it until we can get definitive answers from the ORC and Linda and Vanessa and whoever else, because it's a little confusing the way it's written.
Well,
So I
that
don't-
needs to be done so that they can get the budget together. So, you know, you can get
Right.
an answer from them this week so that they can put the budget together, because that's a
Can we-
strict timeline on submitting that budget.
Right. Can we schedule a special meeting for next week just to discuss this matter?
Yeah, that's probably good. We're supposed to, put the budget together as much as
Right,
possible
before-
in public.
Before, or we can
So
do
Sorry, go ahead.
another board meeting.
That
Whatever
would
we
be
got to do,
fine.
but I know we've got to do this budget before the end of the year, and she was absolutely correct.
Yeah, the draft has to be done by the end of the year, and the final has to be done
End of January.
by January 31st.
Okay, so can we do it for
What
next
day would-
Wednesday, another meeting?
Next Wednesday, the 14th, I think
Yes.
that would probably work for me.
Everybody else good?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, we'll schedule a special meeting for Wednesday, the 14th.
We'll have definitive answers. I will get definitive answers from whatever she's talking about. I will forward this email to you guys as soon as I get a chance, just driving down the road, and crashes in front of me. It's just been crazy. On another thing, or let's go ahead. I can't see the agenda anymore. Jesse, what's next?
Yeah, not a pleasant one to talk about. We have a couple, one or more subscribers who are 120 days past due on water bills. Officially,
Okay.
the rules and regulations say the next step is to send a 48-hour disconnect notice and then 48 hours turn off the water. I'm not
Okay.
sure if
Have we
Go
done this? Haven't we done this already, Jesse, with the notice?
there's multiple stages of the notice. So first, it's just, a late fee. Then if that goes on too long, there's a past due notice that gets mailed out. If that doesn't take care of the problem, there's a delinquent notice that says you've been past due for a certain amount of time. And in the delinquent notice, it warns that the final step is sending and mailing and hand delivering a 48-hour disconnect notice. And from that point forward, if the district doesn't get paid in full, officially we're supposed to shut off the water without any further notice.
Okay, and where are we at? And what level of notices are we at?
One is on final and one is past due.
Okay, let's do the next level, effective tomorrow.
Okay.
And I
There
can
is
hand
a-
deliver those notices myself. I'm off tomorrow.
There's also a specially marked padlock in the pump house. If you open the door, the metal door that swings left, there's a black padlock hanging there, and you have the key.
Okay.
The key also has black plastic. It was in the envelope that you have.
Okay. Perfect. So we've got, okay. Yeah, let's start the next stage tomorrow. If I need to hand deliver these notices, let me have them. I will be more than happy to go knock on the door and say, come on, enough's enough. We're
We
all
have
doing our
only
part.
two people. There's only 2 people and the total past due is 1,335.
Yeah, so the total past due, yeah, there are a few that are only 30 days. I guess those were included there, but yes,
Okay.
to be honest, the majority of that, and it's probably down to 1,100-ish now, but the majority of that is 1 or 2.
Thank you.
Wow.
There was a person in our neighborhood that had an accident, and she will pay as soon as she can get to her computer.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple that are just on, on late fees and stuff at this point, but I'm still counting those as, overdue. So
Right.
not past due, but overdue.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Next thing, Jesse.
Any other business that comes before the board, just, you know, if there's any other public commentary or other matters that weren't on the agenda.
Well, we did not discuss the 2023 $95 a month flat fee.
Oh,
We are going to
Yeah.
do that here in a minute. One more thing. I'd like to take this moment to look at Ed Moore as appointing him as a new board member. Do I have any comments, concerns, anything?
I want to know his qualifications.
As a board member?
Yes. Has he submitted a letter of interest and proven his qualifications?
Okay, and what are the qualifications to be a board member?
I don't know. That's what
Exactly.
I'm asking is
Exactly.
why does he feel that he's qualified to be a board member?
Okay, have we asked any qualifications
Well,
for anybody else?
we had to turn that into the county commissioners when we were appointed.
Well, it wasn't,
we
it
also-
wasn't
We
a
didn't
letter.
ask that from Lynn.
Stop. Everybody stop. It was not a letter of credentials. It was a letter of interest.
Correct.
and in that letter, they asked, what would you have to offer the board if
Right.
if the
That
county
is not
appointed
a
us?
letter of credentials or qualifications.
Right. We're just
Stop the
trying to
BS.
find out. We're just trying to find out what someone can bring to the table. It's just a
since
question.
I'm the
They don't
newest-
have to answer it.
Since I'm
Ed,
the
are you
newest
on the-
board member, I'm on here. And when I got the letter of interest, in that letter of interest, it did ask for me to submit a letter to the board listing my qualifications and what I could offer to the position that I'm at. And so I listed, you know, I've been a part of other boards. I do, you know, accounting and bookkeeping for my own personal businesses. So I was able to put those things together. And
Great.
it sounds like right now we need a secretary. Am I correct on that?
Yeah,
People?
that is a vacant position.
So, and so
Correct.
we need someone
So
who
Mike-
can come in and do the secretary positions.
Yeah, and that
Correct.
would also require them making sure the secretary position needs to make sure that we're compliant on any information that the state is requesting or anything like that. The
Yeah,
secretary
there are
would also
specific
be,
duties for the secretary position by
Yeah.
state law.
Okay.
And that's what we're looking for is if you can help us as a secretary, we need to know how, because there are laws that need to be followed.
Right. And
That
I don't
was
know, I don't know what Ed's interest is, whatever his goal, I don't know. It just, I wanted to know how you guys felt about it.
Well, we need
Well, if
another
we can-
board member,
That is true. We do need another board member.
but
And
that
if
board
he-
member needs to be qualified.
and if he can do the secretary job, that'd be great.
I'm for it.
Yeah, if he
Okay,
can
so
do
why
the
don't we,
secretary job, that's great.
okay, well, so
Real
why
quick,
don't we
I see Mia Homaker. Mia, you expressed interest also. Are you still interested?
Sorry, my computer is being a little slow here. Yes, I am. I am just currently in the middle of a pregnancy. So I am still interested in that. It's just depending on how my pregnancy goes and 2 kids, 1 in preschool, you know how all that fun stuff goes with kids.
So real quick, the just to clarify, the secretary, the vacant seat is its term expires in May of 2023. So it really wouldn't be a huge commitment. Basically how it would work is if an appointment was made, that seat would be, the appointment is to fill the remainder of the vacant term. So in May of 2023, it's another special district election year. We had one in 2020, 22, another one in 23, because the state is transitioning from even to odd year district elections. So we kind of had an extra election, or we will in 23. So after that, it'll just be 2023, 25, 27, 29 for the rest of time. 1 year there will be 2 board member positions available, the other there will be 3. So alternating back and forth every year. That sets up a staggering. So basically what we're looking at is the position would be appointed until the term expires in May 2023, and then the district election will seek actual self-nomination forms for people who wish to actually be elected to a full term. And the rules are that if we receive more self-nominations from people who wish to run for election than there are open seats, then an election is necessary. And that's where we would send out official ballots to all voters, and everybody would, vote for the seats that are open. So in 2023, the seats that will be open are the vacant treasurer and Marcy's seat. Actually, she was safe last time around for the May 2022 election. So basically the way it works now is Sam, myself, and Lynn's positions or seats expire in May 2025. Marcy's and the vacant one expire in 2023. So that's what we're looking at for the next election is 2 seats are up, and anyone who wants to run for election can turn in a self-nom form. If we only get 2 self-nom forms, the 2 people that turn them in automatically get those positions. If there are more self-nominators than there are seats, so 3 or more people, then we have to do the full election, ballot election.
Which will cost about $10,000.
We can probably do it for a lot less. I believe Sheila was kind of tracking down someone who could be our official designated election official. In case, basically if we receive 3 self-nomination forms, then we will have to appoint a DEO. And a DEO is not cheap, but I think that Sheila has found somebody that can do it for an affordable price. We haven't gotten an exact price quote yet, but
Right. But it's several $1,000s.
probably.
So we're going to end up with all these new expenses. Everybody's going to have to pay more on their water bill.
Still think we need to set a base rate and do a percentage of use.
Right.
Depends if we can meter. If we can't meter, and that's why I put this contingency in here. If flat rate is our only option, it's not going to be pretty.
Hey,
and basically, sorry, go ahead.
Jesse, I make a motion to propose until we can get this figured out a $95 flat rate. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Let's just squash this right now.
I don't second it. I think we should stay where we are
Until we
we
get
can
a
get this,
baseline.
until we
At
we can figure
70?
this out.
At the
Yes,
70?
for right now, because we don't even have all of our numbers in, and I don't want to make a decision based on fear, if that's for lack of a better word. I think we need to have our facts and all of our ducks in a row before we make a decision of like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I
would
amend my motion to make the water bill $70 flat rate till we get this figured out. Do I have a second?
It kind of already, we don't have much choice. All
We
I
gotta
wanted
have
to
a
say,
I don't think it should be open-ended. I think it should be till January 31st.
I agree.
I
At
tend
least
to
at
agree.
the $70 base rate, because next year everything's going up, and everybody knows that everything with inflation and everything that's happening in society, that our water rates are going to go up.
Okay.
So I
here's
think most people understand that.
Here's my point then. Instead of doing this every other month, why don't we agree at a number that if it's going to go up anyway, let's just go with the higher number right now.
Well, the thing is that we need to look at all of the paperwork, and like Lynn said, get all of our ducks in a row before we decide what that base rate's gonna be. It could be 105 a month.
Yeah, first we need to find out how much it's actually going to cost us to keep reading the meters, because if it costs us $500 a month to do 20 minutes worth of work,
It's not worth
that's
it.
not a very good deal. And flat rate isn't fair because, and what I've got up on the screen here, if everybody can see it, is a list of all subscribers and their last 11 months of water usage. So, one person only used 10,000 gallons in the last 11 months and they're paying $70. Somebody else used 283,000 gallons in that same amount of time, and their bill would be much, much higher, or it was much, much higher. So it's just really hard to swallow for the low water users who are already, paying the $70 base rate when somebody else is using like 3 times, 4 times, 10 times as much water. If they're paying that same flat unlimited rate, I just don't see how it's fair for one person to pay $70 for 10,000 gallons and someone else to pay $70 for 283,000 gallons.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll re-amend
Travis
my
has-
vote. Go ahead, Travis.
Travis,
I was gonna say, Lynn has already made the point that we have no meter readings for this month and for last month and this month. So that already puts us at the $70 flat rate through these 2 months. I agree with
Yeah.
Sheila to make it through January 31st. However, next week, you guys are already doing a special meeting as it is. Table it till next meeting to make a decision if you're gonna leave it at 70 or 95.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's run some numbers
Okay.
as best
Okay,
we can
and we have
between
to
now and
give-
then.
Let's
We have to
table it
give
until the
30
next
days
meeting.
notice. We have to give 30 days notice before any change in rates.
right,
Perfect.
so,
Table it till the next meeting.
okay.
Sounds good.
Next item.
I believe
I
that
can't.
was pretty much it. Any other business that comes before the board? So if there is none, public commentary.
Okay, let me stop right there. At the next meeting, there will be no public commentary until the very last minute, the last minutes of the meeting.
That's generally how most boards do it. Yeah.
It hasn't happened this meeting at all, or all public comment will be at the end, and you will have your turn. Because the public comments in the middle of this meeting delay the meeting and take it out of order.
It also makes it very difficult to take meeting minutes when there's,
Right. Right.
tangents and everything. So yeah, I agree.
Right.
That should be a bit more structured in the future.
So is there any other public comment? No, then I
Lynn,
make a meeting. Go ahead.
Lynn, did you have anything else?
No, I'm good to go. I think we've discussed what we needed to get through till next week.
Yes.
Okay.
Make a
Mia,
motion to adjourn the meeting.
no, Mia has her hand up.
Sorry, I just wanted to, if I could, is there a letter, like a specific letter of interest to put, like to send to you guys? Like I'm new at this whole thing. So I don't know, like,
Yeah.
is there
Check your
like
check your
specific-
next door. I sent you a message maybe a week ago or so inquiring about your interest, and there's more information in there. So reach out to us if you have any questions after reading that.
Okay, I just didn't know if there's like a job application or like, something kind of like a job application or something like that that I needed to fill out with it besides my
No,
letter.
just the letter. So if you're, go ahead and just confirm now if you're interested in receiving a letter of interest. We can just go ahead and send one right now.
Yes, please.
Okay.
All right.
And Ed too.
Travis had his hand up. Or Ed,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I can tell you I don't do Nextdoor app. So if you can put it in my email, it would be better.
Yep, no problem.
I would prefer that they do stuff through the.
Another thing, if that was talked about, things came out on Nextdoor app. You have pretty much everybody's email, also, correct?
Yes, almost everybody.
you-
I think there's 3 or 4 that we don't have on file.
Jesse, Jesse, he's cutting out. I can barely hear him. Ed, can you say that again, please?
I asked Jesse if he could put it on emails, and because I don't do Nextdoor app.
Okay, okay.
I would prefer to have things through the email.
So that's all it was.
Okay, we can do that. Travis, you had your hand up.
It was only to help the old man for the same conversation he just had of he doesn't do Nextdoor, so if they could send him the email.
Okay, perfect. Is there any other public comment? Going once, going twice. I make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:10 p.m. Oh, go ahead, Ed.
I was just going to ask you, you guys brought up that the meter reading was kind of the only option
To outsource it
to outsource it. Is there any other options with that?
if there is someone in the neighborhood that's willing to do it.
Not unless we become an employer. And that means a whole bunch of extra paperwork and,
Well,
you
yeah,
know,
because they
the
would
main
have
problem is
to,
we don't have any staff to manage employees. Like there's supposed to be a very thick line between board members, supervisors, managers, and frontline employees. But because we're so small and so flat like this, having staff and doing all the paperwork and IRS and family medical leave and unemployment benefits and all that kind of stuff, I just don't see how we would be able to handle it.
Sheila, I have a question for you if you're still
So
here.
Travis asked in chat, unless you keep it as volunteer ? But that's the problem. Volunteers are not covered by the district's insurance policy, and if anything happens to them or if they get sued, they're completely on their own.
You have a
Correct.
question, Sam?
Sheila, can we do a stipend to the person that's doing the meters and not consider them an employee?
That's equivalent to being a 1099, and with the work that has to be done in such a timely fashion, no.
Okay, okay. All right, we will try and figure this one out. I will get with Vanessa and Linda and see what Jim's actual cost to test the water and do what he's been doing and do the meters. And if it's too outrageous, we will visit Plan B at the next meeting.
So Sam, will you forward that information to the rest of the board?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
Sheer
Any
question, just a sheer question. I know AWWS has been around since we took over. Is there any other companies to be able to do the same thing that they're doing that aren't outrageously priced?
So we looked, there were only 3 companies that were willing to come out here. One eventually said no. The other one that we did hire, and they were with us for 1 month and determined that with all the problems with this system and everything that has to happen with this system, that it was beyond their scope. So AWWS, as of when I resigned, was the only company that was willing to come out here and take on the problems that we have.
One other thing to that is the only reason I think we were getting AWWS as affordably as we have been is because of their one of their operators is in rather close proximity to us. He lives in Keensburg and he works on other systems out further east than us, like Brush and stuff. So he was trying to save us money by, instead of charging a trip charge, he would try to stop by Prairie View Ranch on his way back from further trips and everything and kind of lump them together. So I think that's going to be our biggest challenge, is finding one that's not going to be driving all the way from Denver or Greeley or something like that and charging us, $150 just to, just to sit in the car and come here.
Ed has his hand up.
I was wondering if there's been any other contact or anything else with John and Doria.
Very minimal. Yeah, so about a month ago or three, yeah, I forget exactly when it was, Doria texted me and let me know that someone named Derek was going to come and work on the generator. I said thank you and mentioned the problem with the generator. It did turn out to be the block heater was defective, and it has been the entire time that generator's been here, since 2021. So the technician replaced it, but then the tech also sent the water district an invoice instead of sending it to the owner of the generator. So that's the only contact that we've had recently. The status of that still, our discussions or status of communication with them, besides the generator text message, the most recent thing that the district officially has tried to do is jointly invite Prairie View Ranch partners and CDPHE, the district and CDPHE jointly invited the developer and all of their, experts and attorneys and everything, whoever they want to show up to a meeting with the state and with the district to find out exactly what we need to get this all, get the system taken care of and approved once and for all. And all they did was ask for an extension until October, and October has come and gone, November has come and gone, and we still haven't heard anything in return from them. The state wanted them to come to this meeting. It was the state that sent out the invite, and they're just blowing us all off.
Okay.
Just like they have for the last 16 years, 16 or 17 years.
Yep, I just can't believe that they're still asking for more time and more information. They're trying to say they don't even know what the problem is. It just, yeah, we're getting nowhere. And they're even saying that stuff to the state, that they don't even understand that there is a problem out here.
And they've known about the manganese the entire time since the uranium in the wells.
Yeah,
They've
everything.
known about that since 2006.
They've
Three.
known about the uranium in the water since 2003.
Yep,
Oh.
way back in 2003, the state, the water quality analysis came back and specifically said, Dear Prairie View Ranch Water District, these are the chemicals and substances that are in your water. This is what needs to be done to remove them. Please share this information with your design engineer. And the design engineer either didn't receive that information about the uranium, selenium, and manganese, or just simply ignored it because our system was designed without the legally required uranium treatment. Manganese is one thing. The EPA doesn't really regulate that, but uranium, yes. And the uranium was already known to exceed the EPA maximum limit way back in 2003 before they even broke ground on this system. And the developer just completely ignored it. And they never told anybody that the uranium was high or anything.
Yeah, they sure in the heck didn't tell me at closing. They said it was quality water.
So yeah, we're pretty much at the end of our rope. We've done everything as a board that we were supposed to do to try to ring all the alarm bells with the state, the county, the courts, and they've pretty much just been blowing us off. However, Channel 4 News is interested in us. They are going to be doing a story on us at some point. Hopefully they're going to be sticking a TV camera in front of the 13th Judicial District Attorney's face, asking him why he hasn't been doing anything, even though we formally asked them for help and they're supposed to help us. So I'm really hoping that, we haven't been able to get any traction with the government. I'm hoping that when the camera is in their faces, that maybe they're going to show a little bit more concern for our situation. So sometime in the next couple of weeks, there's probably going to be a TV news story done on Prairie View Ranch.
Has anybody talked to Doria or the partners or the lawyer recently?
I have, but it has nothing to do with the water district.
Okay.
It was about the property around us for sale, and she was not very happy with my answer. They wanted to charge me $55,000 for 2.5 acres, and I kind of told her to pound sand.
Now,
Okay.
40,000 of that's a water tap, so 15K is maximum value of land that can't have a house developed on it.
Yep. I talked to a realtor here in town that is very close to my realtor when we bought the house. And he said the top max for the property out here, because he knows the situation that's going on out here. He's been out here for a very long time, and he told me the max for a property out here, which you can't develop, can't do anything with, is max would be $5 grand for it. And she got very upset with me and told me that, well, I'm just gonna wait then until we can build houses again.
That's not going to happen until they've spent millions of dollars fixing the defective infrastructure that they built for us. We
Yes.
already paid them $1.5 million for what we've got, and they only spent 670,000 of that, and 250 of that was on electrical infrastructure that doesn't, that our water district wasn't supposed to pay for out of our water taps. So all of that money that they spent building what we did, we only got half of what they actually collected from us out of it, and none of it was ever approved by the public health department for anyone to drink from in the first place. So the uranium, the selenium, the manganese, all the sludge, the black stuff in the tanks, that all needs to be dealt with before the county is ever going to issue building permits or us to sell a water tap. It's not legal for us to sell water taps until they fix what they caused. And they just don't even think that there's a real problem. Even the public health department can't get them to respond properly.
Yes, and that's exactly what I told her, because we're interested in expanding our property and stuff like that, because we want, more livestock animals. And I kind of tried to explain that to her, and she just kind of was dumbfounded by it and was just like, oh, okay. And it's like, no, I'm not going to be dumb. I'm going to do my research. So
yeah, she shouldn't be dumbfounded at this point. We've been communicating with them for almost 2 years now, talking about the system violations and the everything missing money and all of that, and for them just to still be saying, oh, we don't know. After 2 years, they have an attorney. He knows everything. So I don't know what they're trying to accomplish here. Go ahead, Travis.
You guys are fine. I'm just chilling. Real quick question. Has anybody on the board does anybody know, is the state still doing water infrastructure grants?
Those are revolving every year, and I did make sure that our paperwork was up to date. Got it in before the end of this year to make sure that we would be eligible if we apply for one of those annual revolving grants. Grants, unfortunately, come almost always with a requirement, like if we're going to do an infrastructure project, they're going to want to see the engineering. So, we would kind of have to pay up front to pay an engineer to kind of design what they think we need to fix this, show what it would cost, and then the grant would probably be based on the anticipated cost of the project. So to do an engineering study like that would probably cost the district up front at least a couple thousand. We might want to talk to Kent Flager at Quality Water about how to go about doing that and who to contact about it. But that's probably the next step. There is money out there, but unfortunately, none of it's totally free. Like if we did get a huge grant, even from the USDA, let's say that we had a $10 million project and we qualified based on our median household income for 80% of that. That's 8 million that we would get for free from the government, but we would still have to come up with 2 million. The district would have to pony up that. So that's going to be the hard part, is convincing someone to give us a grant or a loan when we can't really show that we have a way to pay it back.
Grants are usually good enough that you don't have to pay them back, but I totally understand the upfront cost to everybody. But instead of sitting on our heels waiting for answers from lawyers or the news or whatever, it was just the thought of, okay, if we can take a small bite of the apple on whatever project we can come up with, if it's a $10,000 project to try and get whatever water issues, some of the smaller water issues we can start chipping away at, why not start trying to chip away at those?
Yeah, definitely. So I've tried to look for grant information a little bit, and the furthest I got was with the public health department saying, be sure that you put this paperwork in before the cutoff so that we know that you can qualify for grants and stuff. So I will circle back with the public health department again and see if they can give us any guidance on where to go from there. But the number of projects that we have, it's just, we're stuck in a chicken and egg situation where the law already says, because we're in violation of of all the construction defects and everything, we're not supposed to make any further changes to the system or sell any more water taps or anything until all of the current violations are cleared. So I don't know, how willing they would be to let us do, like a pump replacement or, stuff like that, because all of that requires public health department approval. We can't just hire somebody and say, hey, put bigger pumps in the tanks. That has to go through the state engineering department, and basically our certified operator would have to hire an engineer to draw all that up and propose it. So that's why we really need the people who still claim to own our infrastructure and have been telling the public health department and us that, yes, we're going to fix everything. They keep saying they're going to fix everything, but then they turn around and say that they don't know what's wrong. But I've written hundreds of pages of technical and engineering in reference to laws and everything, but telling them exactly what's wrong, and they just won't want to hear it because it probably costs 100 times more than they were thinking they were going to get out of this for. So yeah, the channel. Sorry, Sam, go ahead.
I'm going to throw something out there because I don't know. What would be the issue, or would there be an issue with everybody reading their own meter?
Trustworthiness.
Yeah.
I think that's an issue. You can't get people to look at their email or open their mail. How are you going to get them to run out and read their meter?
Yeah, and
That all has to be done at 5 p.m. on the last day of the month. Like, I can't see everyone just racing out there at exactly the right time and sending their data in the next half hour so Lynn can pop it into QuickBooks.
Just a thought. Mia, you had your hand up.
Yeah, just going off of what you were saying, Sam, does it have to be in on a certain day by 5 o'clock, or can it be done, like if it's due on Friday, can we read it on a Thursday night or something like that and email it to Lynn?
It has to be fair for everybody, and that's the hardest part, and that's kind of why we really need to outsource it, is so that nobody can ever say, I didn't use that much water, I'm going to sue you if you try to bill me that much, come do it again. There's just I just can't see it working. All of this has to happen within a couple of hours. We go out there, read the meters, compare it to the master well flow meters, put the data into QuickBooks, send out bills, and that's kind of a all hands on deck thing. And if the billing, the important part is that the billing cycle has to be the same. If we don't do it, well, imagine if your cell phone company billed you for 2 weeks 1 month and then 5 or 6 weeks the next month after that, it just screws everything up. We're supposed to be tracking stuff on a monthly basis.
Right, I understand that, but like in Deer Trail, they had a water station in town where you got bulk water for agriculture or your farm or whatever, and you would fill bulk. But what they would do is every morning they would go in there and they'd start off that month with that, whatever that reading was on the inside of that building. And then we would have our customer ID numbers, or we would have our last names on there or address. And then we would just, and I know everybody's not truthful, we would go off of the starting number that we had on the meter and then what we ended up filling with. And then that's how they were billing us every single month for that bulk water. So like what Sam said, if one of the board members goes out at the beginning of the month to start exactly, where our numbers are, and then us as individual homeowners can go and at the end of the month do our meter readings and then email them to you guys. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I'm with Jesse there. I don't see that working. If you're going to try
I
to
mean,
do that, you're going to have a flat rate that's astronomical.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, but if we have people that are already not paying their bills at all, what's their incentive to be truthful about how much they're using? And it's all over the board. You know, we've got everything from 10,000 per year to 10,000 per day in some cases. I just can't see all of that information from 49 households coming in and being accurate. And the only thing we would have to compare it against is the master well flow meeting, or the master meters that are actually at the wells that say how much we've total pumped out of the ground as a community. So, you know, we would have to compare that. You know, if the master meters say we used 500,000 gallons in July and people only reported a total of 150,000 gallons, you know, I just see that happening.
I mean, I think, Mia, most people are honest, but there are people who can't even pay their bill because they don't open their email or whatever the reason is.
Right.
know?
I completely understand that. Yeah.
And I just don't see how we could hold someone on the board, you know, hold our treasurer responsible for accurate billing when the numbers are coming in for, you know, 1 per day or 2 per day or something. You know, unless it all gets turned in one shot, we can't expect the treasurer to sit down at her computer every time she gets a text message from somebody throughout the month that says, here's how much I used.
Right.
We got to,
Right.
you know, read the meters, sit down, plug the data in, and be done. All is, you know, is in as
Yeah,
little
we want
time as
one
possible.
done in all in one slam bam motion.
Yep.
Right. I agree with Mia. I agree with everybody. It was just a thought on what everybody thought. We have to outsource this. End of story.
Yeah, it's the only ways that we're not going to all end up, you know, in just total chaos with the numbers. We did good for the first 11 months. All of the readings are accurate as far as I can tell. We identified 16 water meters that are calibrated differently than the others, and that's why so many people were getting really high bills and weird numbers from the previous board. Is the previous people reading the meters didn't realize there was 2 different kinds of meters out here. And so some of them were reading it incorrectly and seeing numbers that were actually writing down numbers that were 10 times higher than what was actually true. So yeah, it's just with 50 meters and 20 of them, 16 of them being different, it's already, you know, difficult enough as it is to keep track of that stuff accurately. We had a pretty decent system down, but unfortunately it wasn't sustainable. You know, as volunteers, it's just too risky for them to do it. Getting hurt, you know, whatever.
Any other comment?
Ed has his hand up.
All right. No, I lost my thought. Never mind. Sorry. It went away.
Sam, your hand is still up.
It is? Well, it's not supposed to be, so I will put it down whatever. Don't worry about my hand being up.
All right, just push the button again.
I'm trying.
Oh,
Anyway, my hand is not up.
oh, there it went.
I clicked lower.
Thanks, Jesse. Any other public comment? No? Okay, good. Folks, we have a big project. We got a lot of stuff we've got to get done. Thank you guys for your input, your thoughts. Know that we're
Thanks.
doing what we can.
Thank you to the community that showed up to the meeting. We appreciate it.
And with that being said, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 19:34 on December 5th of the Prairie View Water Ranch District. Board.
I second.
that.
Second, third, fourth, and fifth.
Motion
Alrighty.
passes. Good night, everybody.
Take
Good
care.
night. See you next week.